All right, thanks for clicking that link. So I am here at the Ford dealership in my 2022 Transit Connect XLT custom order with an update on this van. If you've subscribed to my channel, this is a long overdue video, but one of the things I want to point out is there are no other Transit Connects here at the Ford store. And I'm gonna dive into why you can no longer get one of these here in the US of A. And with all the recent headlines and all the talk that's been going on lately, I feel like this is gonna be a very, very relevant video. If you're new to my channel, this is not my first van. I've actually got some videos where I compare this to my previous van, which was actually a Ram ProMaster. I had a Transit Connect prior to my Ram. I'm now working as a full-time photographer. So this has been taking me around all over the Pacific Northwest, Utah, Oregon, Washington, and Montana. And it's been quite some time since my last update video. So much has happened in terms of current events, and even especially with this particular model, no longer available here in the United States, here in the USA. What would I replace it with? I'm not really sure. So that's something we're going to cover in this video. So stick around, we're going to dive in deep. Okay, so what happened? What happened to the Transit Connect? What happened to the Euro-van in the US market? Well, as you can see from the headlines leading up to this segment, Transit Connect sales had been on the decline for quite some time. Not only were Transit Connect sales in a decline, but the overall market segment in such a massive decline. 2022 was the last year Ram offered the ProMaster City, followed by Mercedes Metris in 2023, and then the Ford Transit Connect. So what happened to the Euro-van in America? Now, the Mercedes Metris really doesn't count so much because of the fact Mercedes never gained traction in the US marketplace with that model. Now, again, going back to the Mercedes, it was also plagued with motor problems and transmission issues, along with the ProMaster, which was really just a rebadged Fiat Modello. I'm not gonna lie, the reason I wanted to get rid of my ProMaster is I was worried about mechanical issues coming up outside of the factory warranties. The Transit Connect comes from a factory far, far away. During, I want to say it was the 2008 to 2013 Transit Connect, that generation of Transit Connect. So Ford would ship the vans to the Port of Baltimore as a 5-passenger vehicle. Then Ford would have the vans converted into cargo vans, removing the rear seats and the rear window. The parts were sent to Ohio for recycling. A new floor and metal stampings were installed to cover the window openings. Why did Ford do it? Well, Ford's strategy was to avoid paying the higher tariffs on the cargo van. Now, the government claimed that Ford's strategy was intentional and misled customs. Ford argued that the seats did meet safety standards and were exported as passenger vehicles. So what was the outcome? After many, many years, in much litigation, Ford finally settled to the tune of $365 million. Now add that in combination with all these declining Euro sales like we talked about earlier in the video, and ultimately we know why the Transit Connect is no longer available here in the US of A. Okay, so that brings me to what's up with the Transit Connect today? Well, the Transit Connect is still alive in its European version. This itself is almost another video in itself. Ford had its own redesign in mind for the Euro Transit. I remember reading about hybrid powertrains, all-wheel drive availabilities, improved capabilities like this really cool adventure prep package with skid plates and black alloy wheels, all this cool stuff. And then it turns out the new Ford Transit really is just a rebadged Volkswagen. Yeah, that's right. You heard me. It's a rebadged Volkswagen. Now, I'm not sure how bad that is. I went to my Volkswagen dealer to see if they had one of the Sparks, and the guy I talked to didn't even know what they were. So I'm not thinking there's been any here yet. Stay tuned. Thinking that could be another future video I'll make talking about the Volkswagen Spark as its replacement for the Transit Connect. Because when I look at the videos, like you can see here, the Transit Connect has that Audi Volkswagen interior. I mean, it is the Audi Volkswagen infotainment system with Sync 4. So it's just really bizarre to see the Ford steering wheel in the Audi infotainment system with Sync 4. Quite a thing. However, there are some amazing cool things happening with this. Number one cool thing that came up on my radar is the Transit MSRT. Oh my goodness. So this motorsports shop in Europe has a motorsports tuning package that they've been doing to the all-electric, new redesigned Transit Connect. That's just absolutely out of this world, fantastic cool. Going to the Volkswagen site, it looks like the Volkswagen version of this thing literally creates 400 foot-pounds of torque. Now, I mean, it's electric torque, but still, 400 foot-pounds of torque in my Transit van. Oh my goodness, hang on, buckle up. We are going for a serious ride. That's exciting. Like, things are knocking things over in the studio just at the idea how cool that is. Okay, so the top contenders for 2025 so far look like they're shaping up like this. Number one, the Toyota Sienna. So I'm probably going to have to go down to a Toyota dealership, check one of those out. Number two is the Kia Carnival. Now, this is one that just went through a major redesign and has a completely, like, this thing doesn't even look like a minivan. I'm pretty impressed with that. Definitely want to go take a look at one of these. Number three is the Honda Odyssey, or as like we used to call it in the car business, the Oddity. And I'm sorry, Honda, that hasn't changed. The Odyssey is still an oddity. It's just hideous, and there's not a good looking line on that thing. And then coming in last place is the Chrysler Pacifica. And I want to compare it to the Transit Connect, but I were to think if I were to replace my Transit, either the Chrysler or the Kia would probably be the top two, unless maybe sometime in the future, Volkswagen Audi will bring factories here to America. Again, going back to tariffs, Ford has added thousands of jobs at their plants just over the last month, and they're ramping up productions with Honda's announcements on its new plant and the big three working with the current administration for big plans to develop more production, more things here in America. Plus, we're going to be making our own chips here. When I was in the car business during the Corona crisis, one of the biggest challenges, especially as a Bronco guy, one of the biggest challenges for people to get their Broncos back when the Bronco backorder snafu was going on was chips. So very excited about the Taiwan chip manufacturer coming here to America, going to be building a giant chip manufacturing plant in Arizona, super chips of our own. Very exciting stuff happening for the future. We're just going to have to wait and see. I don't know exactly how all these plans are going to work out, but I'm excited to see some exciting solutions coming into place and some very cool changes and some very cool improvements for American auto manufacturers. So this is really exciting. Like I said, I've been a Ford guy all my life. I spent 27 years in the car business, and most of that time was spent on a Ford showroom. That blue oval has been a big part of my life. So I'm excited to see the future for Ford products. And I hope that the Transit Connect will return to the US. There was talk of one being built in Mexico for a short while on the C2 platform. That did not pan out. That's not going to happen. But stay tuned. Who knows what the future will hold. In the meantime, if you like this video and you've watched this far to the end, man, thanks for watching this far. Make sure to smash that like button. Hit the subscribe button too, because I'm going to be making more van videos. I'm going to take the Transit van to some dealerships. I want to look at these vehicles. Let's see what happens next in the US of A. Thanks for watching.